Because when the BBC reported Lucinda Creighton's comments, they were accused by the SNP of misconstruing what she said. Scandalously, one of their members suggested that the report had been heavily spliced. Yet, what she said and what was reported is backed by the comments of the President of the European Commission, José Manuel Barroso, the Czech Foreign Minister, the Spanish Europe Minister, and anyone who understands the European Union. What was it that was misconstrued and provoked such a hysterical response from the SNP? Why couldn't they just admit the truth?
Minister. Can I ask Joanne Lamont to cast her mind back to First Minister's questions of a year ago? Patricia Ferguson congratulated the government in publishing a consultation document which said that there would be negotiations with the European Union. I replied, I say it has never been our position that there would not be negotiations. The point is negotiations would be held from within the context of the European Union. Now, I know that maybe it takes a year to clarify the position between Patricia Ferguson and Joanne Lamont, but then perhaps if she sorts out an internal communications within the Labour Party, that will be easier to challenge. Now, she gets very upset about any suggestion that the BBC might be misconstruing remarks of the Irish Foreign Minister. Can I quote exactly from the Irish Foreign Minister? I am concerned an interview which I conducted with the BBC is being misconstrued. And then goes on to endorse the SNP position in the way that I have just outlined. But of course, I think in fairness to the BBC, it should be said that she says the BBC position is being misconstrued. And when it comes to finding misconstruers in Scottish society, then the best place to look is the Better Together campaign of Labour and the Conservatives.
Thank you. Joanne Lamont.
This is the man who went to court to cover up the fact that he didn't have legal advice. And has never, ever been able to explain what he understands by the terms of the debate. We don't need a lecture from the First Minister about clarity. What we need from him is a degree of honesty. Because everyone has agreed that the people of Scotland have the right to the best, most accurate information in the run-up to the referendum. But how can they have faith? I know you're doing your job, which is to make a racket. It would suit you better. Because that's the only internal communication the First Minister requires from you. But how can the people of Scotland have faith in the information supplied by the Scottish Government when they so often, remember, have been forced to admit they are wrong, and when those giving accurate facts are ridiculed, bombarded with complaints and pilloried by the cybernats? What does it say? What does it say about Scotland when the Minister of a foreign country is bombarded with abuse for telling the truth, and news organisations from the Scotsman to the Herald to the BBC are traduced for reporting facts that turn out to be true? People want information so they can make a judgment on what an independent Scotland would look like. So far, isn't it the case that all we know is that it will be a land where you're not allowed to disagree with Alex Salmond?
First Minister.
I know that Joanne Lamont wouldn't want to descend into the language used by some of her colleagues in the House of Commons a couple of weeks ago, when she actually questioned the democratic credentials of this proportional parliament, upholding the legitimacy of the House of Commons as a model of modern democracy. I've quoted exactly from Irish Minister Lucinda Creighton. It was she who said she thought the BBC coverage of her remarks was being misconstrued. I think that's a very reasonable thing for the Irish European Minister to say, and I think it's really important that she said she found that the SNP position was entirely sensible and endorsed it. Hopefully that sort of confidence in Scotland's European future will translate itself to the unionist parties in this Parliament, who cannot really seriously believe or doubt that energy-rich, oil-rich, renewable-rich, fishing-rich Scotland would be anything other than, as the Irish Minister indicated, welcome in the ranks of the European Union.